Right, welcome to another episode of the Powerful Eyes podcast. Today we've got viral sensation, Kayla Wild.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on.
You're very welcome.
I imagine it's been some week for you.
Yes, and I think I'm still processing it, to be honest, because I'm just sort of in my own little world, and then I realise and sort of remember throughout the day, right, this is going on. Do you know what I mean?
Just mad, but your phone's been off the hook.
Pinging, doesn't stop.
Yeah. I want to get your life story, but first of all, I really want to talk about this video.
Yep.
Whose idea was it? How's this come about? Because this was like literally a few days after the original video of what was it, Wandsworth, HMP Wandsworth?
Yes.
Which obviously went in every lad's WhatsApp group on the planet, I think.
As has mine.
Now it has, yeah. I'm sort of sitting there, and I've got so many little WhatsApp groups going on. It's like part two.
God, I've had a lot of requests for that, actually. They're like, can you do a longer version? And then I said it to Andy, who was like, I think we're going to have to do it. Well, let's give the fans what they want.
Give the fans what they want,
I was like, oh, well, okay, absolutely.
So what happened? I mean, because this was quick.
Yeah, literally, I was at home and it was Friday, and Andy had contacted me because I've already worked with him a couple of times before, and he'd sent a message to me on Insta just saying, I've got this idea, I think you'd be perfect for it. And I was like, cool. And he was like, are you busy on Sunday? And I did actually have plans to have someone to come over for a roast dinner, and then I had plans that evening as well. So I was like, but I'm kind of like, I will always make shit work, you know,
nice
for myself, and especially when it's to do with me and making money in my business. And so I quickly spoke to my friend who I trust the most with my child, and she's kind of my one big source of help. And I was like, can you do this Sunday morning? And so that was it. I got up 6 a.m, prepped a roast, done the chicken, peeled the potatoes, made half of the cauliflower broccoli cheese, and then flew up to Andy's studio, which is the Porn Star University. And then I got there because he was like, oh, I want to do this reel that I think is going to go viral, and maybe a scene to match. I was like, okay, cool. And I got there and he was like, I've got this idea. And I was like, right. And then he said about doing this video, filming it on Snapchat and giving it away for free. And I was like, what? I've never given any of my work away for free. But it was kind of like a fuck it moment. I went with it. I trust Andy because he is like a bit of a marketing genius.
He knows what he's doing.
He does. So I do feel like I can trust him, and he's been a great source of support from the aftermath of it as well. And I went with it, and we done it, and I checked it over. Like, we done it in we done one take, and that was sweet. But then we wanted to do it sort of from the other side, so we did one more take. So we done 2 takes, and that was it, done. And then I was there not like an hour, and then I went home and continued with my Sunday roast.
And with no idea that he was going to go as mad. I mean, did you think this is genius, or was it?
I didn't really, but I don't think not that maybe I shouldn't say it, but I don't think I'm the most business mindy. I'm very creative. I like all the creativeness of it, but I'm not so much very great at thinking, oh, this is hot, jump on this. I just kind of do a little bit of what I like or see what's trending nowadays and whatnot. But I do trust in him and his initiative. And so I thought it could have been a possibility, but there was I promise there was zero expectation. And now I'm kind of like,
It was a detail. Like, I remember someone going to me, no, it's definitely fake. No one's got a picture of an old escort on the wall in prison.
Oh my God, I know. And I said to someone who made a comment about, someone said the full escort in the background's more interesting. And then I said, oh, one of my exes from when I was like really young had a cosy. And he was like, oh, I love cossies. And then he sort of liked me after that. Yeah.
Genius. That's what I was like. It does look like a real set. Like a real like prison set. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's what it was. It was one of them. I think most people first off thought it was like 100% real.
Yeah.
You know.
I think some people thought it was actually a second video.
And Andy does look like the guy. Obviously, done far too much research. But Andy did look like, looking at, I think he had the same t-shirt on, and
I don't know, because I think the guy had grey shorts, and I thought Andy was going to do grey shorts, but he was in his night that was grey.
Yeah.
So I can sort of get why people, thought that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a genius move. And I'm guessing it's sort of paying off in a big way financially and obviously, you know, likes and followers and subscribers. And
there was an influx of subscribers. It's been like, probably nearly 48 hours now, has it? I don't know, Anyway, no concept of time, ADHD. And so that shot up, like that doubled quick time. And then I just looked and they were just coming in. There was just like new subscriber, new subscriber. And like tons of emails, new campaign contributions. Like they were just goal reach that I just had to keep doing the campaign again because they kept reaching the goal. And so I kind of like, don't really like talking about money too much, but from like say my old normie 9 to 5 that I used to do, I surpassed what I earned in a month there in 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Over on OnlyFans,
Yeah, crazy. So. And again, that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Collabs.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Take me back.
Okay.
Let's start from the beginning.
Yep.
School, growing up, family.
Okay. Jesus. Oh God, I get sweaty palms just thinking about it.
Was you around here? Was you always local?
I grew up in Waltham Abbey. I moved around a little bit, like as I got older. I sort of lived with an ex in Canary Wharf, Buckers Hill. I actually did live in a women's refuge for a period of time in my life, and then got chucked out of there because I kept going back to my very abusive ex. And in the end, finally, when I got sober and that, then I moved out of the family home because I felt that was a necessity to maintain my sobriety. Moved in with a girl who just didn't drink. Then she got a boyfriend, had to move again, and it was all just...
So when you say that, you needed to move out of there to stay sober. Your family were drinkers? My family have always been drinkers. It's been a very normal thing to have like a Bacardi and Coke with your dinner, a very strong one, and then like wine after that. And I never thought that was like not wrong, but it was
like
just normalised.
It was so normalised in my house. It was one of them old school households. Like, well, kids can drink legally from the age of 5 in their own home. It was like one of those homes. Do you know what I mean? And it was very much of witnessing a lot of violence. And I will say, while I'm on here, like I'm not here slating them, calling them anything, nothing like that. And this isn't a blame game from me, but it happened. And I'm so fucking sick of trying to protect the people that haven't protected me. I'm at that point now, you know, and I think since having a kid and advocating for them, it's advocated for little Winnie.
Makes you realise what a parent should be.
100 million%.
Was there any violence towards yourself, or was it?
Yeah. So I've got 2 siblings, one who's 10 years older, one who's 13 years older. So I was the baby. My mum had me at 36. I was told things like, I wish I died with my best friend Teresa, which would have meant I wasn't born. So those little messages you internalise as a child, been told I wasn't wanted, things like that, or that I could have been put into care, apparently, because I wasn't wanted. And then they wonder then why I've had to estrange, because I think over time and over therapy and throughout sobriety, you get such a clarity, and yes, it's goddamn painful, but to stay sober, you've got no freaking choice but to face this stuff. Yeah. And to look after yourself. The fact that you've
remembered that and you're talking about it now shows how much it's sort of stained on you.
Yeah.
You know, it's horrible. I think it's so important people don't realise the damage you can do to kids at any age.
Yeah. Because I remember being such like an advocate. I look back now and I'm not saying, oh, I'm so fantastic. I'm not speaking like that. I'm just telling you some facts, Seeing, and I'm sorry because my dad passed away, so it feels really awful to speak about, but seeing a fight between my brother and my dad, strangling each other on top of the landing. And I remember everything so clearly. I remember the bureau that was there. I remember the banisters, how they looked. I remember the carpet, the smell of it, bits like that your body stores and remembers, those senses, And they're strangling each other, and I see a blood vessel burst in the head, and I see a blood vessel burst in the neck, like that. blood shooting out. And I remember my mum holding me, and when my dad was in the bathroom, and I must have been really young. I have chunks of my life I don't remember, I must admit. I think my brain's done its thing to try to protect me. But I do remember her holding me and me saying, who are you going to hit next? Me? Because I'm trying to stick up for my brother at the time. Round the face.
Ouch.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm not saying, oh, I've got the worst childhood. It's not like that at all. Some people have it tons worse. Some people, it's all different, yeah? But we all kind of basically have trauma in some form of another.
100%.
And I think me having a kid, I just want to do my utmost to ensure that my child is set up with a healthy blueprint, because if he's going to be run 95% of the time by his subconscious, I hope that there's a good little wiring up in there. And it don't mean I get shit perfect, but it means I keep shit real.
Yeah. And you're trying to be the best version. I think that's the thing. And I do think there's, like, things were different. I don't know how old you are now.
36.
So, like, you know, things were different 30 years ago, 40 years ago. I think people were a little bit more abusive. You did give your kid a little slap.
Very normalised,
Yeah, you know, so I think that's, you know, sometimes people get stuck in that old school where they think it's okay.
Yeah.
A smack on the legs because the kids nicked something out the shop, you could probably get away with, but a slap round the face for doing nothing, it is wrong, you know, it is wrong. And it does scar you.
Yeah,
you know, which is sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
But I think the only good thing that comes out of it is, you know, you'll never expose your children to that.
And I think that's what people struggle with, is because if you remove yourself from toxicity, and at the end of the day, of course, that then means my child gets removed because my child is young. And so I'm their mother. But it was very much treated like he was theirs. It was a very strange dynamic. And you remove them from that because you're removing yourself, and you are so harshly judged for that. Like, I think you get so many comments like, you only get one mum, or you only get one da-da, or they're your blood, da-da-da. But it's like, yes, I am so grateful for the things they have provided in my life. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm not grateful. I can be, like everyone can be, a paradox of motherfucking things, yeah? I can be this and that. And they can coexist. And I'm grateful, but, like, providing certain things without nurturance of your true inner being, or a permission to be who you are with autonomy, is damaging. And I think if you are scared to be yourself, or even to find out who she is, there's a concern there, which I'm realising. So especially because I have my own, he gets full autonomy. I really do my best not to abuse my power in any way as older than him, as a parent, as an adult. Yes, things might slip off the tongue as you've learned or been conditioned to, because you've adopted and inherited certain ways of being or saying. But what I then do is I address it with him and I apologise. I was never fucking apologised to.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
But I think that's generational, wouldn't it? You know, like, I sort of grew up, you know, my dad now would be 84 or something like that. Like, they was old school builders where if they didn't say anything, it meant they was happy. You know, it was one of them. It was almost like, you know, like, they'd never say, well done, I'm proud of you. It was almost like if nothing was said, then you knew you was doing all right.
Yeah, but, that's really sad.
Yeah,
I do think we are evolving on like an EQ level, like that emotional intelligence. But I still think we've got a very long way to go.
I think it was that masculinity where, you know, you weren't allowed to show emotions back in the day, because it was a sign of weakness. Whereas
and I
now,
think people don't realise how misogyny affects us all.
Yeah,
like, women have tons of it. Men get hurt by it too. Do you know what I mean? And like, to think that it doesn't go on, but like you see it on a daily, it's like, to me, it's like the math isn't mathing by saying that it doesn't exist. To me, anyway. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. How did you get sober?
Woo, I got sober. Well, I was drinking from a young age, because down where I lived, there wasn't really much to do. And so all the kids used to hang around down this estate called Round Hills. And there was this, like, lady who you'd give a £5 or £2, and she'd go in and buy you a box of Sovereign and a little bottle of vodka. And you'd go around. I know Round Hills. Yeah. And you'd go to someone's, like, doss house, and that would be it for the evening. Do you know what I mean? And I never reacted well to it. I was always kind of one of the ones that would be sick or pull a whitey if I'd had a puff with it. Do you know what I mean? I'm the one in the corner like that. And then I got a bit older, early 20s, and I worked in a restaurant, and I've done a lot of different jobs, mate. I've worked in home-based, River Island, telemarketing, pubs, everything. And then I tried cocaine. And it was like, whatever then that does when them two infuse, it was like, do you know what I mean? And because I felt like I'd got through life because I wasn't allowed to complain, or I wasn't allowed to say I didn't feel right. But I was always baffled how people just were. Because I'm like, I don't really know how to be like naturally this or naturally happy, or like, I don't know, I thought it was like I had to do this. But I think that I look back now and it's because I hadn't had a chance to explore or find me in the first place, or know me, you know, like that was kind of taken from the get-go. So I've learnt her now and helped her evolve and create. And so back then it was like I took that, and then like you hear in tons of recovery meetings, immediate ease and comfort. And I could talk. And I could talk without the narration going on criticising me the whole time. Because even as I'm doing this now, I'll have a nut that's going, oh, you're so annoying. Oh, you're so weird, Kayla. Oh, you're so this. Oh, people are going to think this. So no wonder I'm freaking exhausted by the end of each day.
That shoveling a little bit of cocaine and a few beers.
Poof, gone. Confidence arises. Do you know what I mean? And I could sit there and be in a toilet with a bird for 3.5 hours, and all of a sudden she's my best freaking mate. We've told each other everything. Everything. Do you know what I mean? And then, like, you've probably taken her hostage and you've gone back to yours and you're shoveling it, but you're keeping a little stash in the bathroom for yourself because you don't want to share that bit because you're going to need that. Do you know what I mean? Now you need her to go because you're running out of the shared bit. But then you really want her back. But then that's there. But now I need to move. So I'm going to go here and I'm staying in a lay-by, but now I've got psychosis. So now I think there's a SWAT team out in the forest down High Beach, and I think people are watching me. Do you know what I mean? And then I'm running like 5 baths. I'm changing my clothes. I'm putting Jeremy Kyle on the laptop at volume 1, and even that's too loud. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Because I can't be with me in that. Do you know what I mean? But everything, my nut will go to me. But another line will make it better.
Would you just carry on? Because I'll speak to this. I've never done it. I've never done coke. Right? Okay. I think I've always been, I'd say, a fairly big drinker, and I also know I've got very little shut off.
Yep.
So I've always avoided it because I think I'd probably be dead.
Yeah. I don't know how I'm not dead.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah.
Because my body's small. I'm like 5'2", and I'm like probably just over 8 stone. I don't even know. Never weigh myself, but.
Would you go days and days and days? Would you?
Yes.
Would you? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Like if I'd started, then if it got to like 4 a.m, say, I'm like, well, what's the point in stopping now? Like, that genuinely made 0 sense to me to stop. One, I couldn't, but it made no sense
It's addiction.
So I would carry on. Then it's 8:30, and I'm still calling more on. And then I'm like the weirdo at the cash point, getting another 50 out, can't even move. My fingers are like rigor mortis. I can't speak. Do you know what I mean? But I think it's a really good idea to carry on. My nose is bleeding. I'm crying. And I'm telling myself, Kay, you sniff another line, you're dying. And I can't not do it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's just, that.
It's pure addiction. Yeah.
100,000,000%.
I'm sure Ross once told me that he used to, like, he wouldn't even open the door. He'd just do it through the letterbox. I've got another friend of mine who you'll probably know from the meetings, called Daniel Stock. And I think he's been, great guy, Dan. I love him.
I spoke to him the other day. I actually was meant to go meet him and Katie to see a show. People Places Things, which my friend Denise Goff is in. She's an incredible actress. And I got it wrong. So he forwarded me a message and it said tomorrow, but said Wednesday, which was Wednesday. My brain only grabbed the tomorrow, sorted childcare again because I desperately wanted to see the show, and it was like 30 quid a ticket for the ticket. And then he rings me, you on your way? I'm like, what? He's like, I went, it's tomorrow. And he went, no, it's tonight. And I was like, shit, I'm so sorry. I was so upset. So, I love him. I went to his birthday not long ago.
I was meant to go over Hartford. Do you know what? I had a stag do the same day, so I couldn't make it. But I see him the week after.
I adore him.
I mean, I knew Dan when he first went into the Priory when he was bad, and he was bad.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And again, the most paranoid because of what he was doing.
Yeah,
you know, like,
it's the worst. That psychosis, mate, is genuine hell on earth. If you know psychosis, you know psychosis.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think no one can get it or relate, like, unless they've, like, had it, I think. Do you know what I mean? I met him because I went to a meditation meeting on a Saturday morning. I was brand new. And then they were looking for a tea commitment girl or person. And I put myself up for it. And I remember, like, a year later, Dan and this other fella was like, oh, we just remember when this little blonde thing came in saying she'd take the tea commitment. We thought, oh, we won't see her again. And here you are a year later, and they'd got me a birthday cake for my 1 year sobriety, and I was still there. So,
nice.
yeah.
I think he's like 21 years.
Yeah, he's a long time. Yeah, because his birthday was like his big birthday and his 21 years. So it was like a 50 and a 21.
Yeah,
so
mad, yeah.
It's mental because to think I will be 10 years on the 28th of this month, and it's like, look, like everything gives me goosebumps. You can see because it's like, wow, like it makes me emotional.
Yeah. You're right.
I haven't cried in ages.
Let it out. Yeah.
But it's not like a bad not that any emotion is bad, but it's like not sad tears. It's tears of, I'm so glad that I still get overwhelmed by it because I'm so grateful to be sober.
Because it's given you a new life.
Yeah. Like not even just a new life, like 9 of them. Like I feel like a cat who's had 9 lives and who is able to finally act, which I didn't know before. Like you realise it when you've got it, you're like, oh, this is what I was searching for. I just didn't know it because I didn't have the words for it or the experience of it before. But it's like your soul has, oh, that was it. This is it. It's like that remembers, but not on an intellectual level. There's something else inside. And then you recognise there is this power, you know what I mean? Once you allow it, that experience. And it was like, God, I've gone off on a tangent. What did you say that I was saying that for?
We were just talking about Dan, ultimately, and the paranoia and...
Yeah, sorry. I'll go off on a tangent. I don't need to say sorry.
No, not at all,
Women say sorry just for breathing.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah,
again, I just remember we was, I think, again, 21 years ago, like 3 ex-misses ago, we was booking up.
Oh, okay.
We was going to be booking up to, like, because I was quite tight with him and his missus, like, you know, it was like a little 4-ball and... We was going to go on Orient Express, I think, and then the next thing I know, he disappeared, and and he sort of come back about 3 or 4 months later,
a new man,
and literally a new man, you know. You
do, you get to like finally actively participate in your own life.
Yeah, same as Ross. I was with Ross, literally. I was with Ross, like I think the night or 2 nights before he went into recovery. We'd picked him up to go to a rocker. Quite a few of us, like again, ex-misses. And there was like, and we picked him up, and he got in our car, and he literally couldn't talk.
Right.
Like he was like all glitchy and that.
Mute.
He couldn't talk, and it was like, but I've not been around. I've never experienced it because normally at 6 o'clock in the morning, if I'm still at a party, I'm going home to go work.
Yeah.
You know, I did have a sort of the shut off enough that I knew I had to go to work in the morning.
It makes people uncomfortable, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's odd.
Yeah, and there was the first time I actually see him, and I thought, wow, you are bad. You know, because you think if you see someone up and you go home at midnight,
you don't,
and they're still there, you don't see the bad part, I suppose. But,
I literally used to not be able to breathe. I used to genuinely think when it was the end, this thing wants me dead. Like I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it was only going to
probably would have killed you.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Because if not, I think I would have done it myself.
Yeah.
Because you can't.
You're not in control.
Bear that. Like I always say, when I first went into recovery, it was like because my heart was so broken at who I'd turned into and how I'd turned into and what I was doing to myself. It genuinely felt like there was just dark around me. I remember getting my first sponsor and speaking to her every night on the phone and being like, I just feel like there's something dark and spiky around me. And she used to say, pray and do this. And bless little me, when I look back, I used to like print off prayers because I didn't know what to say. And I had to learn. Like I literally had to unlearn loads, learn new stuff, relearn things I thought I knew. Like it was, I mean, talk about a puzzle that you work out along the way. And then it's like, you get to like a level and you drop down, and it isn't just working it out in your nut, do you know what I mean? And then you're dropping down, and all of a sudden you have this moment where you drops to your heart, but then there's an even better moment where it drops right in your gut, and then there's this knowing, and you know no fucker can take that away from you. That's why it's so worth sticking around. It just takes a bit of graft and some serious freaking determination to keep
the
trudging.
Willpower, I think,
the faith to keep going. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just think it's a continuation to give yourself a chance. Then you build such a strong resilience that then you can kind of get through anything. Yeah. See, I speak about this. I don't deem myself to have a problem, but I know I drink too much, and the amount of times I've said to Ross, mate, I'm gonna give this up. Like, it's like, because it's 11 o'clock in the morning, I feel like a sack of shit. You know, it's like I've got to be in London. You know, I'm thinking, what have I done? Yeah.
Like, and I probably have a client. I don't do that much social drinking, but I do a lot of sort of client entertaining. Yep. So you justify it in your head. You justify it because it's work.
Yep.
I probably could have took him somewhere else and done something else, but I've chose to take him on the piss, and I'm 15 pints deep. Yeah, in Chelsea somewhere. Yeah, it's one of them. It's like. And I spoke to him, and every time there's always a reason not to give up. Yeah. And I think, and listen, I feel like if I had to give up, I could. Yep. But there's always a reason. There's a wedding. There's a holiday. There's you know, like the England football. You know, it's like fucking imagine, you know, going out and watching England play and not having a beer. You know, like in my head, I can't comprehend it.
There is a bit in the big book about that, where it talks about the moderate drinker, the hard drinker, and the alcoholic. And although there are similarities you can find, then there's that ultimate difference. But it doesn't mean that then it doesn't affect you just because you're not alcoholic. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I could go weeks without drinking. Yeah. You know, but then I might find myself drinking 5 nights in 1 week. Yeah. Again, if there's, you know, if the social calendar is busy, then my body's going to take a battering. Yeah. You know. Yeah. Moving on from there. Okay. Let's talk about the industry you're in now. You've found your way into the porn industry, OnlyFans. Yeah. Like, how do you actually get into it? You know, how have you sort of fell into the path that you're in now? I do know, because my nuts straight away want to go, I don't know really, but I feel like I've participated, but I've also feel like I've been sort of like just led, as it feels like a bit of a parallel thing together, which I like that sense, because I feel like I'm sort of working with an inner part of me as such, if that makes any sense. But I kind of trusted the process, I guess, but it was like when I had my baby in 2019 and I fled domestic abuse. I was on my own. I'm in a house. Then COVID hit like a couple of months later. I'm really on my own. Do you know what I mean? And I ended up losing my normal job. The company was sold while I was on maternity leave, but sold with us. But I then had no clue of like all the changes or anything. And then I was having like check-in meetings with them, and I was asked when I was going to stop breastfeeding, which I'm sure they wasn't meant to or allowed to ask that. And then soon after that, because I sent an email and I was like, I don't think you're allowed to ask me that. And I said, could I have a recording? Because I'd like to go to the Citizens Advice Bureau and just get some advice on that, because I feel a bit uncomfortable. And then they asked me to, I don't know what the word is again, but like leave, basically, and had to sign something to say I'd never claim off them and all of that. And so I got like some money for leaving, not huge amounts, but some money. So that kept us going for a while. But I had to get through family court as well, because that was stuck on me. So I'm there, I've lost my job, I'm in family court, I'm a first-time mum.
COVID's kicked in.
COVID's there. I'm sober as well, yeah. And I'm navigating all of that on my own. And then I had to learn like the PD12J law because I had to get through court. I couldn't afford legal fees at the time, so I was borrowing money and I was litigating myself. So I was learning how to do statements and Scott schedules and stuff. But at the same time, I was trying to book, like I was trying to hire direct access barristers for the day, so I wasn't completely on my own against a whole different team. And thank God I did, because it was kind of like all men.
What was you actually fighting? Was it custody or?
Yeah, so they took me to court for custody, but said in there that they don't know what my drug use was at the time. Bearing in mind, this person had never, ever seen me drink or use. They met me in my recovery, and I had never drunk or used. So when I saw that, bearing in mind, what I'd experienced of that person was enough anyway to know that you can't trust that person.
How long was you with them?
Not that long. When was it? It was like an on and off thing. I was like a secret. I felt like shit all the time being with this person. Do you know what I mean? But I thought it was a very codependent thing where you think if you just love them enough, you can help them. And then they just suck you dry and then leave you in the dust type thing. Being sold a dream that I would never have to work again. Not that that was what I wanted, but this is what I was sold. We would go live in Portugal. We're going to have these babies. And all of a sudden...
You read about these all the time, the stories.
Total love bomb. But all of a sudden, keeping me secret for so long. And then, boom, I want this with you. I think that it was like a huge dopamine spike for my brain and for like needing worth. Yeah, and I look back at it now and I think someone choosing you to want to be the mother of their child is a big thing as a woman. Like at the time, I wouldn't fall into that now, but at the time, and when I had the baby, like the pregnancy just got worse, like the behaviours just got worse. I was always told like, I'm giving you leeway tonight. Just shut up, be humble, and everything will be okay. Yeah, so be small, Kayla. Shush, be small. Be pretty, be meek, but not too pretty. Be sexy, but not too sexy. Be this, but not too this. And people wonder why women are fucking tired and confused. Yeah? Because you are sold a million different contradictory messages. You're told you shouldn't have to breastfeed because it's the best thing for your baby. But stop when we need you. You should be this, but don't be too much of that. Like, and you're like that.
Yeah.
You're fucking confused. And like, you can't win. You're judged either way, whatever the frick you do. And so it got to a point where I had the baby. Things kicked off in the hospital. He's chucked off the ward and locked out. I'm escaped out the back by one of the midwives, and then I've got old Bill and social. And I'm sitting there, haven't even washed. I've been in hospital for a week because I caught sepsis when I was there. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
This ain't the best start.
What is this life? Do you know what I mean? And then like, I don't know, like then like losing the job and getting through and all of that. And then I made an account in 2021 and done nothing with it. I forgot I made it.
Oh, no, if.
Yeah. I forgot I made it because I was kind of one of them that bought into this idea that you could just be faceless and sell pictures of your feet and make money. I highly doubt that, right? I don't know. Maybe there is people. I very much doubt it because if you think it's easy, it's not. You have to be videographer, marketing team. You've got to be your salesperson. You're working like a lot. Do you know what I mean?
I think everyone looks at it, not just in that industry, in any industry.
Yeah.
Everyone looks at the top 1% and they think that's fucking easy.
Yeah.
All he's got to do is this. They don't see the 8 years of graft that they're putting to get into the 1% in any industry.
Yeah.
You know?
And I left it there. I forgot I'd even made an account. And then when I kind of had the moment, something happened as well. I hate to say it. But when my dad passed, something felt cracked open in me. I don't know what it was, but like there was quite a lot of trauma there as well. Like, oh God, I hate to say it, but if we were I said to myself, I'm not going to edit myself or protect all these people anymore, right? No. Okay, so when I was very, very young, I would assume around 5, my caregivers would have very loud sex in front of me. Yeah, quite primal, scary. And I remember at the time, I'm in the room, I'm at the end of the bed, and I vividly remember thinking, my thought process was I didn't want to make them feel uncomfortable.
Wow.
Right? So I just pretended to be asleep. But it really affected me, yeah? And this is why then I never wanted anyone to look after my kid. I didn't want him to stay anywhere. even when it was brought up within my family, I was so fucking brave. And I said to my father at the time, I remember that time, and he went bright red and then said to me, "Oh, you must have been dreaming it."
Yeah, because 5-year-olds have dreams like that, don't they?
And this is the story of my life, being mother frickin' gaslit, thinking I can't trust myself. And then you're wondering why I don't know how to think for myself, because I'm so worried that, am I getting it wrong, even though I knew I was there?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The fact that you remember that now, 30 years later,
well, I've known it a long time, yeah, but I kind of lived for a lot of the time thinking that either people wouldn't believe me, or I spoke about it in therapy for years, but I think you're so worried as a female, well, me anyway. Is she attention seeking? Is she lying? Is she this? Is she that? And then if I dare talk about my trauma, everyone will go, that's why she does OnlyFans. She's just a traumatised, damaged bird. Actually, I'm 10 years motherfucking sober, and I've had 4 years trauma therapy and 18 months EMDR. I've done tray breath work. And I'm not saying I'm amazing, I can do all of this. I probably have got, I know I have got still things. And this is a lifelong working journey, and I fucking love that about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There is a lot of layers there. Like you think, like you say, it's even the fact that you've gone into OnlyFans sober.
Yeah.
Like, a lot
of people thought I'd relapsed.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
People were asking me, have you relapsed? Which is, I think, quite sad that there's that in that perception of it in society around sex work. But I think not because of that, but like there was that trauma and stuff, yeah, and then the passing.
But I think people like to paint a picture.
Oh, absolutely.
That's
love
what it is. Yeah, they're judging you before they know you. It makes
them feel better.
Yeah.
And it continues their conditioned belief that they have of it, which is where they're comfy.
Yeah.
If I ask you to step out of that into something you're a bit unknown, you've got to face something within yourself. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to stay in my comfy seat where I can just judge you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier there than to challenge yourself.
I think 90%, and I think that number's low, 90% of the population are vile.
Yeah.
I hate them. And they're so judgmental. Honestly, I do.
Yeah.
The last month as well, I felt it even more. But, everywhere you go, everyone's so judgmental.
Yeah.
Everyone's jealous. Everyone, they want what you've got without doing the work that you've done.
Yeah.
And it makes me sick.
It makes it really, for me, it makes it very scary.
Yeah.
There's times in my life where I'm a sensitive Sally, yeah? And there has been so many times in my life where I'm scared to, go out because the world frightens me. And I think that's because I overshare so much. But my mum used to go to me, you make yourself too available. You're too honest. You're too always been told you're too this, too that. So I've had this paradox, tug of war within me that I'm too much but I'm not enough, and it doesn't make sense, and I'm confused. Do you know what I mean? And so then they wonder why people look for relief. They wonder why there's such addiction issues, because people are looking for respite from that pain. Do you know what I mean? But then some people have that bit within them, the riddle that no one can explain, where it goes past that invisible line that you can't come back from with human aid only, kind of thing, yeah? So that happened to me. And like when I was saying, with all of that and everything I'd unpeeled and uncovered, if I'm to stay sober, there's no way I can stay sober without facing them. So I just went on this pure excavation journey. I went on retreats. I went to Buddha temples. I went on a Christian retreat, for crying out loud, once, where I was given a sword and a cape and a tiara on my head, and I had to go, freedom, right, with this. I've still got the sword in my pantry.
Really?
I swear down, yeah? And I've done all these things where I wasn't allowed to then take my phone. I had to fast for 24 hours. I went and got lost in a field and had to work out. I know it all sounds a bit cray-cray,
No, do you know what? I always say, I think it's 5 years ago, I would have said you're a lunatic.
Yeah.
But now, the idea of it, I'm sort of romanced by it. I think you know Mark White.
Ross said his name. I recognise him, but I don't know him. No,
you might know him from around here. But he done a silent retreat for 7 days where they weren't allowed to talk for 7 days. And he said, boy,
is that confronting?
Yeah, he said by the end of sort of day 7, I knew exactly who I was. Everything, all his senses are heightened, and
100.
like the clarity in his mind. Like, you know, I think I'd love to try that. You know, like where I'm going to get 7 days from, where I can't answer my phone. I don't know where it's going to come from, but I'd love the idea.
It's amazing to do because of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what I mean? It's like I just threw myself into anything that wouldn't harm me or someone else, but even if it was wild, I love that. I love making life delicious and juicy. Like, I am here and I want to get all in the nook and crannies. I want to scratch the spots that don't get to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's me. And I love depth. I love juiciness. Like, if you think you ain't got no one to talk your trauma shit to, baby, I am here for it. Do you know what I mean? And so I went and studied psychology. I do level 4 now as well, because I'm curious and I'm intrigued, and I don't want just that, I don't know, like the grey area. I want to dance all over the mother freaking spectrum. Do you know what I mean? Of all the colours, and experience all of it as much as I can. And with that, sadly for this world, I need financial freedom.
And now you've basically got it.
Well, getting there. I've still, look, I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of people lie about what they earn on OnlyFans.
1,000,000%, yeah.
Right? So I'm going to outright say it. I'm in the top 2%. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, I'm top 0.1 and all of that. I'm 2%. And, I mean, I only started it September last year, so I think I've done very well with that. Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah. But, I mean, in the past, I've been in the world. I used to work for Bluebird back in the day. I don't know if you know that. It was like a babe station thing.
No, I don't know.
That did Bluebird. I don't think anyone hardly knows, but I used to work in Spearmint Rhino because I wanted to pay off a car.
Oh, really?
So I used to like podium dance, and I used to do promo work in the day, leafleting. I mean, no one can say to me I weren't a grafter.
You kind of tiggled your way into this.
Yeah, really, I think I always, there's something in me, right, that's known I was going to do something around sex.
Yeah.
And it's not because I love sex, trust me. A man never made me climax in my life, right? I've had it once now while working in the industry. Thank you, Kieran Lee.
Big up, Kieran.
Big up, Kieran. But he let me use the toy.
Teach me, Kieran.
He let me use a wand, and it was very powerful, and it was a really lovely moment. It was amazing. It was like an hour scene, and I finally climaxed. Yeah, so this was like one of my reasons of getting in the industry. I thought, I've been sexualised my whole life, and the truth is I've danced my whole life. It doesn't mean I like sex, but I like being it. And I think, for fuck's sake, you should be allowed to enjoy that, because it is life force energy. It's where all your kids came from. It's where all of you.
It's the most natural thing you can do. Oh my
God! But you've just like, there's all this shame and stigma and these things compounded on top of it to make you feel dirty and this and that. And like, if it is adult and it is consensual, baby, go and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
There's women out there going, they're sleeping with 4 people a week and not getting paid for it.
Exactly. Exactly. I was sexualised my whole life. Never got an orgasm, so I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go get money.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because why am I sitting here struggling? Why am I worrying about spending £11 on a fucking soft play session? Why am I worried that I can't go and buy a £7 fucking jacket potato while I'm out? And that's how I lived. I was worried. And where I estranged from the family as well, I lost all that, where there might have been a bit of security to...
There's no safety net, yeah.
And I think they thought... well, they spread a smear campaign about me, actually, saying that I'm in a cult. Apparently, I'm in a life coaching cult called Lighthouse. Never heard of it in my life. So then my friend, who's a journalist in the BBC, told me about it, and I was like, oh, well, where do they think I've got all this money from to give to this cult? It was insane. But what these people do is they run a smear campaign. So if you go and ever talk to them, those people think you're lying and you're cuckoo. Yeah. So it's all set up on purpose, yeah? And I think
that brings you back to the 90% of humans are just vile, because that's what they want to do. You know, they want you to foul.
Yes,
because they think, you know, by you coming down, it elevates them up.
Yeah,
don't.
No, and I think if you dare to be female and strong, if they can bring you down, it makes them feel even better.
Yeah.
So.
The stigma's gone on that a little bit. I mean, it's improving. You know, like sort of strong females now, I think have got more of a platform than 10 years. I mean, 10 years ago.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But it's obviously still got a long way to go.
Yeah. Like, in the majority of, like, normal life, yes, it all looks fantastic on socials. It still goes on.
Yeah.
All of the negativity towards it. Do you know what I mean? And it's I just thought to myself, to be honest, Kayla, babe, you get judged if you do, and you get judged if you don't. Go for it, try it, and that's what I did. And I kind of quickly realised that people collab, and I just thought I'd give it a go. I remember driving to Andy's studio for my first time, and he was lovely, and he was like, look, we don't have to do this. You are not... Do you know what? I have never been asked for consent in normal life. Working in the industry is the first time I've been asked for consent.
Mad.
It's the first time I've been asked what I like.
Mad.
It's the first time I've been asked what my boundaries are.
It's insane.
First time. And that's real talk.
Yeah.
So... people want to shame the industry so much, or like my darling sister who's abused me online has said this morning, is that it's sick. A sick industry where this is the bird.
What does your sister do for work?
She doesn't work. So she's hardly ever worked.
Who's paying for your sister, me?
Yes. And I hate to say that because I've had to have help, yeah, and I don't want to say it like that at all. And I don't even with her, I wouldn't sit there and go, oh, she's this and she's that, because I really like to advocate for females, and I believe she's got a lot of trauma, and I think she's of an age where, and so much damage to her that I don't think she's got the ability or the capacity in her to look at it. I think it would kill her if she looked at herself, and that's so sad.
I think it's one of them. I think there's always going to be hate, no matter what you do. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Do you want a drink? Do you want some water?
No, I'm all right.
I think you're always going to get the hate. Like whether you're Bill Gates, doing anything.
Yeah.
Elon Musk, you see people at the top of their business, and you'll see so much hate online. In the industry you've gone in, even more so.
Yeah, it's just heightened. Because I've been called every name under the sun regardless. I've been called filth, C-U-N-T, slag, B. I mean, my ex used to call me, and it's very racist, and he's a 6-foot white fella. Typical road band sort of vibe, do you know what I mean? Would say to me, I'm like a... Am I allowed to say horrible things? It wasn't me that said it, all right? I'm like a packy convenience store. I can go to you and get what I want and then just like leave. And then he decided to call me a ginger packy convenience store, because when my roots grew back, he said I looked ginger, as if that then was apparently a horrible thing. What's wrong with ginger? Nothing.
And this is from people you know.
Yeah, so it's like, mate, when you're called all them things and you've got through all of that, you get to a point, you're kind of like, yes, it's not going to be pleasant to receive the hate and the backlash of things and the judgments and the fears of, because you're a mother and because and will my friends still want me as the godparents of their children? All that goes through my mind, yeah. But again, I can't continue to drive the car of my life with someone else.
Yeah.
In that seat. I'm finally like working. I feel like I've discovered all parts of myself and created a congruence where I let them all be. I don't suppress any of them. I don't shun any of them away. I don't tell them to fuck off. I let them all be there. I soothe them all. Do you know what I mean? Adult me now drives the car. Little me is in the back seat, in her nice seatbelt. She can chat. She's safe. And teenage me, who still tries to mug me off, is in the passenger. And then, like, universe is the car or whatever. And we're all in this together and we're getting through. But I've integrated. And I think that then creates a harmony within oneself. I don't think that creates. That's been my experience. And I'm not saying I get it all perfect every day or whatever, but it does allow me to be authentic. And quite frankly, for me, that's success.
That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to be yourself.
Yeah.
You're in control of, you're your own boss, you're earning money.
Yep.
There'll be loads of people who will say it's morally wrong.
Yep.
There's loads of people who will say shift work's morally wrong. Yep. It's like
I go into sorry, I'm such an interrupter. I'm such an ADHD. So I'm ADHD. I fiercely advocate for female pleasure. Like, I have a bigger plan with all this that I feel silly saying out loud, especially on a podcast, because I'm worried people think, who do you think you are? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm this grandiose thing, but if I can make a dent, why not give it a go? Do you know what I mean? Of doing some good. And we're not hit it trying to make a good dent in the realm of sex, the one place that everyone wants to keep underground. Do you know what I mean? And like, bring it to light and try to do a force of good within that realm. It doesn't have to be in the ones that just feel comfortable. And so, like, I don't shame any kink or whatever like that, but for me, I just choose, I say, please do not degrade me, don't slap me, don't choke me, don't spit on me. Do you know what I mean? I love sensuality. I like feeling goddess vibes, and I've never got it. So I finally am getting this experience, because if I was to go and ask random Joe blogs, can you treat me nice? Do you know what I mean? They don't even really know how, but a performer can.
And they'd probably also think, like, who's this weirdo?
Yeah, of course they would. Oh, she's too much.
Yeah, she's a bit
strange.
Needy, yeah.
She's thick. She's needy. Yeah. Yes, exactly. And so, she obviously wants me to marry her. No, bruv, I just want you to be fucking decent. Do you know what I mean? For crying out loud. And so, yeah, I'm trying to do... Because look, all these men that follow me, but you're putting quotes about wellness and integration of parts of self. So why not use what you've got to infiltrate nice little messages into society? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I truly believe if you saw what a woman's body was genuinely mother-fricking capable of, you'd want to see that more. You wouldn't have to wham, bam, slap her about, act all nutty and aggressive to get your nut off. Because, yes, we all have a quick fix as human beings, but if you go and tend to the longer route, but you see the result.
More the tantric route.
Hello. Yes. And I feel like people are going to really laugh how I'm being, because I'm getting all like passionate and excited and being a bit of a weirdo. And I feel my head's going to me.
There's loads of people just taking notes, going, right, what have we got to do now?
Well, my head's shouting at me that I'm going to come across as big-headed, and I hope that's not. So I'm just going to out that. But like, the more of the tantric route. Yeah, I find it mouth-watering. It makes me salivate. So if I can experience that in this lifetime, I'm 36. I wanted to experience it. And if the way to experience it is in the industry, that's the way I've done it.
Do what you got to do.
At least I got it.
Do what you got to do. Yeah, why not? Give me your a typical day in the life of Kayla Wild.
Okay. So generally get up quite early, snooze the alarm probably a couple of times, make coffee, pray. I kind of, generally when I do wake up, I sort of say thank you straight away while I'm still got my head on the pillow. Like, I get like such a gratitude for being in a house and having a safety and a comfort and a purity, a pure feeling. And I look and there's my kid and there's my cavapoo and I'm in the middle. And I fucking love the fact that I wouldn't want it any other way. And that I'm so happy and so fulfilled there in that space. And then I obviously do the usual thing of like making packed lunch and making breakfast. We have like the same breakfast every single morning. Natural yogurt, honey, granola, all of that sort of stuff, which I love. And then do like nursery drop. And then it all depends whether I've got a collab, a podcast, photos to do, customs to make. So it all depends. So I'm kind of like fitting in what I can that day, or there might be a live or whatever. There might be admin to do. Usually it's probably travelling to somewhere, working, doing a collab, and then making sure that I do it all within the nursery hours. So
you collab with men and women? Is it only men and women?
Yeah, I'm by myself.
Right, okay.
There's only, how many times, I can't remember how many times, but there's some times in my life where I've been so deeply attracted to a female because they ooze something extraordinary, with the times I've had. And so I realised, like, you are and you're allowed to say you are, Kayla. Do you know what I mean? And I adore the female body. I love the female form. I think it's beautiful. And I think if you tend to her well enough, you get to see very stunning things. And, but yeah, sadly, I'm still attracted to men. But I work, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl, 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 boy, boy, girl. Yeah, I've got an array. I've got an array of tapes, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Coming back onto the bullying, the online stuff, how do you deal with it? Or do you just do you read it? Do you not? I'm guessing the last 24 hours, 48 hours must have been as much as you've had the influx of money, the influx of subscribers. You must have also had an element of shit that's come with that as well.
Oh, 100%. Like there's been a huge backlash, and I would rather not read it because I see it as like self-harm, but everyone sort of tells you, like other fellow creators, and that like hate brings sex workers money. Yeah, I think that's really sad. Like I want different to that. Do you know what I mean?
You find as well it'd be the same people who are saying it who are probably subscribing.
Yeah,
it's like a weird. It's a weird way.
I don't really know for a fact, but I would assume. And it just makes you laugh, doesn't it? Like really, Steve, have you ever watched porn?
Yeah.
Have you never said a crude joke, Steve? Like, get off your pedestal, for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean? It's like you just can't do anything.
You've got a child. That's disgusting.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting a lot. Yeah. I'm getting that a lot. But what I don't understand is, okay, so if you're married and you've got however many kids, even one, please don't tell me you ain't fucking in the room next door some nights. Yeah?
100%, yeah.
Can you just pipe the fuck down and stop making out like women, especially single women, are not allowed to have sex? Do you know what I mean? Because you all want to sexualise us. Yeah. But how dare we monetise off of it? Or how dare we actually be sexual?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you want us to have a low body count, but you want us to know how to fuck like a porn star.
I was going to say, the same geezer who's telling you're disgusting would bang you any chance he'd take
but
it.
If I was to date, you're allowed to say that.
Yeah.
But if I say that, the comments I would get down on this. Do you know what I mean?
Steve, what are you doing tomorrow, mate? Do you want to come down?
Yeah.
He'd be there.
Yeah. And it's like, I just find it quite insane, really, that because she might be a solo parent, that she's apparently not allowed to have anyone in her house. I mean, I don't have sex outside of the industry. I didn't have sex probably for a year, I reckon, before I even got into the industry. I'm not really someone who, like, I can do a far better job on my own, right? But I can actually reach climax with me and my toys. But so I'm not out there seeking it. I didn't go on dates. I don't do dating apps or anything like that. I just don't have a desire for it. But if a woman does, and say like her kids are asleep, why is she not allowed though to have a moment? Why is she not allowed an orgasm, or at least to try to get one? Because you probably ain't going to give it to her. Do you know what I mean? But she can at least try. But why is that bad? Just because you're married or got a partner, but you're allowed to fuck in the house.
This is that thing where it's only bad, and like they'd all do it themselves, but it's bad for you to. It's bad for anyone else to do it.
Yeah.
You know? Like
And I'm not saying, and I'm not advocating, because I have my trauma, but mine was done in a room, very loud on purpose, because I was there, yeah? I'm not saying you're doing that to them, but I'm just saying, why is it okay if you're married to have sex in your household?
No one would have more than one kid if it weren't.
It just, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And I think if you are brave enough to slightly challenge or be able to, or have the ability to even slightly critically think, maybe you could come round to that reasoning as well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But like I say, I think there's so much, the bad side of the internet, we see it years ago, the bad side of the internet is the hate.
Yeah.
You know, and there's no one to come up, if someone see you walking down Harlow High Street, they wouldn't come up and go, fucking wrong. They wouldn't do it.
No.
But it gives them the power. We hope they wouldn't do it. But the internet gives them, you give them a keyboard, and all of a sudden they're 7'2", not 5'6". You know, it's like they're right.
All the warnings I've had and all the hate has come to me, not to Andy, who actually came up with the idea and filmed it and posted it.
How much hate have you had over this?
Loads. I mean, but I've done, thank God. I think, you know, when you feel like God gave you some some tick time, or where I've had like really niceness for the majority of my time since being on social media, and now it's hit because it's gone viral. So sadly, that's gonna come. Do you know what I mean? But there's a lot of supporters on there, so they're then sort of then backing me or saying nicer things back, but then I've got people going, "Oh, look, you just want the validation," and you just duh. Like, most humans kind of do feel good with validation. I'm not sitting there and but I'm not like, I don't feel at all like there is an intention to chase that. I'm just being like me, or like real or authentic. But because people want to be nice back to that, that isn't a bad thing, Shirley. Yeah. Whatever your name is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Nice to be nice. For crying out loud. Like, try it. And the irony is, you'll click on someone and on their bio is be kind.
Hashtag be kind.
Hashtag be kind.
Always the ones. Always the ones.
Take a leaf out your bio, hun. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Changing their profile picture to the Ukraine flag this week.
And they want people to be nice to them.
All day long. All day long.
Like,
yeah. I just think, I mean, is there a lot of depression? There's no money around at the minute. Right? It does seem, take away the Euros, and even the Euros are not really helping the way we're playing, but like, you take that away, there's not a lot going on. No one's going out as much.
No.
Like, I think there is like a little mini wave of depression across the UK.
Yeah. Like, definitely something strange.
Yeah. It's not, no one's, festivals are down. You know, like people haven't got money. They haven't got money. I mean, it all comes down to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a serious crisis on where people can't afford to live, as much as they used to live. And it does get you down, I think, to sitting indoors, the sort of same four walls. I think it does. And then again, when they're sitting indoors, they've then got a keyboard.
It's very hard to get off of, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
No matter how much you know that you should or whatever, it is difficult.
Yeah. Steve's sitting indoors. He can't treat his missus, right? They're all bored. They're eating beans on toast. Yeah. And you're out there doing videos, having a good time, making money, big smile on your face. Yeah. He hates you.
Yeah. You know? I get it. I do get it, but I think it's sad
but it's unnecessary.
I get it.
Yeah. It shouldn't happen.
I think it's sad that that's normal and that you understand it, or that even I've been bred to believe that that's the right response.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be?
No, not at all. It shouldn't be. But again,
like, you don't have to be your thoughts. You can have a thought. You can judge. My nut does it all the time. Yeah. I can talk back to that.
Yeah.
You have an ability.
Yeah.
You do not have to be run by those things. You have an ability to sort of have a discussion within yourself and then make a more effective move. I'm not a fan of right, wrong, good, bad. I'm like, right, okay, what's the next effective thing for you? What's the healthiest next move for you? Yeah. I know everyone will probably come at me on that and say, well, how's porn healthy? Well, it can be. If I choose to make healthy porn, I can be. I would love to one day have like a female-led porn company with all this sensual, orgasmic goddess type shit, and like have that, because like, yes, there might not be a humongous market for it because it's not what we're used to, but I would love it. I would love to have that one day, Why is that like a bad thing? Yeah. It's not. Again, no good, bad. But we all have to have these paradoxes in life.
I do think as well, as like we said, like going back 10 years, how things have changed. Yeah. I think things are evolving. So what you're talking about then, in 10 years' time, that'd probably be more of a, I mean, it's not that it's not accepted, but it's just not, it's kind of not the
so I'd be worried that no one would want it.
Yeah.
Because when I started, I was worried that, because I don't want to be the hard aggressive. Yeah, I know I've worked for brothers and stuff, but like, that wasn't what I wanted, that vibe. I was worried then I wouldn't even sell. Do you know what I mean? But like gratefully it has. And do you know what? I've actually been able to sort of experience myself, because I'm very aware, like I'll be filming a scene and I know exactly, I can hear what my nut's saying, not hear audibly, do you know what I mean? But I'm aware of the thought patterns and the narratives that are going on, judging me, critiquing me, thinking I look ugly from this side, Botox don't work on me, so it's judging me wrinkles, saying that side shit, all of that gear's going on. Does my vagina look nice enough? Is my vulva okay? How's my arsehole? Do you know what I mean? Your nut's saying all that stuff to you as you're working, and then you watch your scene back. And you're like, wow. And I'm not going, oh, I'm the best. But it is beautiful.
It's quite empowering.
Oh, babe. It's like, That's his fucking fire. I didn't know I looked like that, right? Not just looked aesthetically, but I didn't know that I oozed that. But a part of me did. I just didn't think I was allowed.
It's almost self-belief, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so I think for the first time in my life, I'm seeing me. And it doesn't mean that I am just sex. That's not what I'm saying. But this whole spirit, like this essence of me, comes out in my work because I get to be creative. I get to act. Like, I've always loved that. But this is one way of me being able to fulfill
to express
that.
yourself.
To express.
Yeah.
I love movement. I love moving my body. I love dressing up. Doesn't mean I'm this or that or however you want to perceive those words. But I love it. I love my fucking feet in high heels, or I love stockings and I love lingerie. I think it's stunning. Why not let yourself be the canvas?
Yeah.
And
well, listen, do you. I think that's the thing. Like, what works for you might not work for someone else, but do you. You know,
exactly.
why not?
Exactly. But I had to find what that was.
Exactly, yeah. And I think the sobriety...
And maybe I still am.
You're probably still evolving, aren't you?
Yeah.
You know, like, what you love now, it might change in 2-3 years, but that's the beauty. It's your book. Yeah. You're the author.
Yeah.
You know, you write as many chapters as you want.
And don't get me wrong, people come at me and say that people are going to bully my children and things like that when they're at school. And please don't be naive to think I haven't thought that or worried about that or do actively worry about that. But
exactly what we said earlier. What about the bullies? The bullies are the wrong ones.
The problem isn't me. The problem is the bullies.
If your kid's bullying another kid because his mum's on OnlyFans, sort your kid out.
And I think we just live in such a victim-blaming culture that no one even looks another direction to see it. And it's like, if I could take your hand, guide you up a mountain to a viewpoint, and I say, look at that beautiful green, and you say purple, I'm going to say cool. I'm not going to impose my belief on you. But would you let yourself just be able to redirect a little bit sometimes?
Yeah.
Just see if you can see it in a different view. If you can't, okay, cool. But generate a strength of an ability within yourself to try.
Yeah.
You know? Or to challenge, you know? Or, like I say, critically think. But I think maybe there's a larger system that doesn't actually want you to do that.
I agree, yeah. I think that people are programmed to not think outside the box and just
so many people think they're in such control. There's such a lack of humility when, if you look at it, like, you'll run a lot by your blueprint that was set up in early years.
And your ADHD as well kind of lets you explore a little bit more.
Yeah.
I'm allegedly on the spectrum.
Okay.
I get told in this office a lot. So but I do think it makes you push boundaries.
Yeah.
You know? It makes you want to try and find whether it's happiness or, you know, you're just constantly pushing to kind of be you and do what you want to do. And I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I just hope I can because the thing, no one knows your life like you do they? Do you know what I mean? Or they don't know your reasons or the struggles or the battles.
Yeah.
So it's like,
listen, you coming on here today, right? I don't know anything about you. All I know is that you do OnlyFans. And it's been such a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
You've got so many layers, you know, like little onion. And you're a beautiful person.
Thank you.
You know, it's nice. Yeah. It's nice just to be judged on you rather than being, you know, like, as people do, you know, have this sort of, you know, perception of sex workers, OnlyFans. You know, it's like, you're just your normal person, a lovely person. And I think you're doing good. You know, you're doing...
It's like the longest standing career in the blooming world.
The oldest profession, isn't it?
It just is. Like, it's not going away.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Listen, this is the thing. You're this side of the camera. Yeah. Your subscribers tell you there's a fucking big market.
Yeah.
For what you're doing.
Exactly.
So, you know, and like I say, I'd love to see them. You know, I don't know how many subscribers you've got now, but out of them, I guarantee you, 10% at least of them have trolled you online.
Maybe.
You know, like there's little Steve in there somewhere. He's in there.
And Shirley.
Sorry,
I don't mean to be horrible about them names, but yeah.
What's next? What is the next chapter? Is there a prison part 2?
Knowing Andy, there probably will, because if everyone's asking for it, there probably will. We'll probably just set something up when he's back in the country because he flies around and whatnot. But I I would probably assume so with how well this has gone.
Yeah. And I'm intrigued by his set building as well. I mean, it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's jokes. That's where I did the doctor scene with him. He's got a taxi there. He's got like an army space, a dungeon, a barn. Yeah. And if he needs a set, he'll just create one. Yeah,
I was actually joking when you was coming in. I was going to say I might say, because I'd normally say, Mark, he's a mental health ambassador, and I was going to say Kayla Wild, doctor, nurse, prison warden.
I call myself multifaceted because you're allowed to be. It's just you have to give yourself the permission.
Yeah.
To read books and motherfucking twerk. Do you know what I mean? I can wear goddamn fishnets and go to church and sing hallelujah if I want.
Yeah.
And you can too.
Yeah. What about me?
Of course, babe. All inclusive.
Have you seen these legs?
Hey, babe.
Jesus.
All inclusive space here when it comes to me. Welcome to the wild.
Mate. But listen, it's been a pleasure having you in today. I've really enjoyed this.
Thank you.
And I'll keep a lookout on the WhatsApp groups. We'll see what your next move is.
Yeah.
All right, mate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.